Hey guys, Eastie here at Wholesale today with Trevor, who's going to be building a 480E for me to go behind the 6BT. And it's got to be stripped, so that's what we'll do today, and then parts sent away for cryo and brought back to be reassembled. Cool, what are you doing?
So there's your valve body, a few of your solenoids, this pressure sensor, another solenoid up there.
Reusing any of that?
No, the valve body, yes, but we'll make modifications to it and all that sort of stuff. That's new loom, new pressure control solenoid, pretty much everything there. It's just the hardware that we're reusing.
Will be you doing the build as well?
Yeah, pretty much. So that's your valve body assembly there.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. You'll see more later on. We strip it right out and do it what it's sort of like inside, but yeah, it's actually 2-wheel drive Suburban. We'll change that shaft to be the 4-drive one that it needs. So that's your park rod. So as you move your shifter, that locks into there, stops it from moving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that and that, they need to what they call servos. So they operate bands. Most people know bands for your older transmissions and all that sort of stuff. It was a thing you adjusted in your old Trimatic that you had and all that sort of thing. Grief in there from the boys.
Oh, yeah.
So don't forget about us when you're famous.
Yeah.
That's your selector mechanism sort of thing there. When you move your shifter, this is where it all happens down here, connects onto there. Alright, that's the bottom half pretty much done. And here around the front, that's your input shaft. And this is your pump assembly that actually moves the oil around.
You play the box in neutral
Down some of the bits. That's transmission pump there. Parts anyway, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or, you know, if not your reserve thing. That's a thrust that stops that component rubbing on there. It's also a adjustment for your end float. So that's your pump there. Watch those 2 gears.
Very cool.
Yeah. 2 flanges there is the neck of your torque converter. We do a few valves in there. I'll machine that. I'll replace those 2 bushes because they can wear out and give you a bit of movement. That bush will get replaced, and obviously new sealing rings on the back, so they have oil coming out of this hole here that has to seal down in the next component.
Sure.
So, and the way they do it is with those sealing rings. Right. But that's your input shaft, overdrive planetary, and overdrive direct drum, or overrun sometimes it's called.
Awesome.
Yeah. That comes off there. That's your input shaft. We'll replace that with a 300 margin, I believe it's getting. which is a lot better quality of steel and doesn't break and all that sort of stuff. And that's the overdrive planetary, overdrive sun gear, scrag, so one-way clutch sits on there, and that is it. There's another clutch, that's overdrive brake. The way they sort of work, I took a bolt out of there before, it was sitting in there. That bolt has oil pumping down through it, it's got a piston, we'll see later, and it just applies a clutch and locks the outside to the inside and holds it on those teeth there.
Yeah, cool.
Pretty much. That bearing off, we put a full set of bearings in these. Keep them just for comparison until we replace them. Forward clutch, and well, I can tell that that's had a really hard life. You can see the black heat in it.
Looks like it's been hot, doesn't it?
It's been very hot. Okay. Yeah. It's been pretty hot. You can see it's cooked the outside edges of that. They're supposed to be like a tan brown colour.
It's definitely more like black.
Yeah, they're cooked. So I'll have to find a reason why that's happened. Just another thrust. All the little things like that get replaced. Another drum. That one is really buggered. You can actually see these should have like a mil of clearance on the clutch. There's a general rule of thumb of these things. There's specifications on it, but that is a lot of movement. Yeah, and it's black as anything. So let's have a look at this one. Yeah, so that's supposed to have the material on it, and it's actually just completely come off. So there's our intermediate band. That's in pretty good condition, still got the writing on it. A set of frictions for this. This is second gear. So that's the piston housing and centre support for that clutch there. Another gear set, planetary gear set there, and another one-way clutch inside of that. Right. Intermediate shaft, can't remember the name on that one off the top of my head. Sun gear, thrust. Alright, so that's your output shaft. We'll change that to a full drive one, which is shorter, roughly about there, sort of thing. Cool. So good for that. And that is not far off band yet. Let me just get the last band out. Band's bugging. See how a nice smooth surface, and see how there's all pitted and all that sort of stuff. It started to pick up and flake it off. Sometimes it's like a brake pad lining, this sort of stuff. It's steel housing with that material on it. That'll get replaced. And that is it. That's one empty gearbox. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it's just pretty much like a big dishwasher that spins. Yeah.
Whatever these back ones are. Steamy. Now which bit's this?
So this is your second gear clutch drum. So just a retaining, so when the piston applies with the oil going into it, and then when the oil stops, that pushes it back down so it doesn't keep applying, doesn't run on. That's it. So there's your two seals there which seal your piston. They're a lip seal, which is a really good idea rather than just an O-ring. Yeah. Right, this bit. come over to this jig. Compress these springs down like that to get the serpent out. And then come back over. Oof. Yeah, that might be why it failed. It's not supposed to look like that.
Seal?
Yeah. No, these things are what they call a moulded piston. So you can see this one is sort of intact. It's the steel housing with a moulded piston already built on it. But that has just launched itself. Yep. There's another seal there. This is another one-way clutch, so turns that way. Try and turn it the other way, it won't go. Good idea because they lock on pretty good, but yeah, they're hard to get off. Yep. Okay. So that's your spraggly one-way clutch. Alright, that's that drum done. I'll clean that up.
Which one was that?
So that's your direct clutch drum. Quizzing on the application of it, it's third and reverse usually. It's a direct clutch drum.
Cool. Sound.
That's better. That's what that one should have looked like. With
Yeah,
the seal
right.
still attached to it. Yeah, this one will most likely not. This bitch. Yeah.
Just do one finishing cut, just to get a nice smooth finish at the end. Then you know it'll be dead true to the pump surface, to the extension housing as well.
British pig. Must be done.
I think that's about it really until we get some parts and that comes back from cryoing.
Too easy. Alright, I'll catch you in a few weeks then.
Yeah.
When everything's all back.
Yep.
2 weeks later.
Hey guys, back here at Wholesale with Trev. Day 2. We've got all the bits back from cryo.
Yep.
And so now we're just going to assemble the whole box.
Yeah, we're ripping on it. I've got to paint it.
Oh, yeah.
That'll take a while to dry. I've got to do a couple of coats of that, so
Yeah, cool. Too easy.
yeah, we'll do that and we'll get you back one night with a good range to when it's on the dyno.
Awesome.
Yeah, don't need to be here watching paint dry.
No. As fun as that is.
That is super important. The second set of teeth,
Oh yeah.
because that combi shift needs to read the sensor, that's your actually output speed sensor.
Yeah, right.
That's what it picks up on. Brand new bearings, as you saw in the thing. All brand new bearings and gear sit on these. That's a ramp and roller sprag. Replace it new every time and all that sort of stuff, so that's your one-way clutch. We soak frictions before fitting them, and just transmission oil. Are you just singing along to Cher? Just yeah.
Need a big zoom lens so I can stand here and just catch him.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Trevor's got all the... It was a good cheap night when we were apprentices, just a box of beer or whatever and fucking sing stuff. So those lip seals there need to be installed in the unsealed position. So we put that, it pushes them out, and then we do that one. Then we go freeze it in that position.
Freeze it.
Freeze it.
Okay.
Yep. There's a spray you can use, but it does the same thing as just putting it in the freezer, and it basically stops them from going out when you're trying to install it, so it keeps them tucked in tight. They go in really easy and you don't cut the seals. I do sort of normally wait a bit longer, but you come down and if someone doesn't stop you on the way downstairs, usually it's still sort of good frozen and all that sort of stuff, and you just go, book, and it just drops in. When oil comes in and tries and apply this, the seal pushes against the outside and that's its tight seal. Lip seals are the best things for transmissions in years, but...
Don't they melt if you overheat it?
What? Oh, the O-rings? Yeah, anything plastic, yeah. Whether they've got lip seals or normal O-rings or whatever, they all, yeah. You can get them melted or they just physically go that hard that they will set, they won't flex like that, you know what I mean? When they used to have, didn't have lip seals, they just had O-rings on stuff. O-rings would just get hard and shrink, and then oil would bypass it, and that's why heating transmissions is, yeah, real big pain in the arse. None of this stuff likes heat. Spring retainer on this. Job done. So that's the intermediate clutch. It's normally only got 3 frictions. You go to 4, and choline steels, blue race frictions.
Blue waffles.
The blue waffle ones, yeah, don't put that in there. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Pretty much every clutch we've done that with, so that one I'm about to build, we get an extra friction in there.
Yeah.
And they got race frictions, the forward clutch, same thing. We keep, oh that's the wave down there, we keep the waves in them, otherwise they shift too hard.
Is it a short explanation of how a waves work?
I'll show you on putting that one together, a bit easier. Yeah. Yep. Everyone will build these different. There'll be some person who comments and goes, "Oh, I delete the waves because I like them to shift real hard." I went, yeah, good for you. It's not, you know, not competition.
I guess it's owner's preference as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've
want this to be a daily and retain full automatic and everything.
Yeah,
comfortable as well. So.
That's the other thing, you know. And it's a compromise between, you know, the strength and how people like the shift and what's also actually good for it, you know. Alright, so that's your clutch pack there. You might not be able to pick it, but see this bottom one comes away. So that's your waved one. See it's touching there and there, so
You can see
yeah,
that.
you can see it there.
Shows up good in the camera. Yeah.
As the clutch applies, that flattens out and just softens that initial, you know, thumping of it coming on. Right, so it just makes the shift a little bit softer. Again, can delete them, but I think they shift nicer if you keep them in. I reckon we've got a bit too much clearance. We'll measure that up and see where we're at. That's the steels we were trying to use to get an extra one in. They're 1.5mm. They're 2mm. That's how we'll get our clearance right. I'll take a few of them out, put a couple of thicker ones in.
Yeah.
Get that clearance right. That's better.
The rear band going in. That's just the upgraded spring.
Nice.
Pusher.
Rear band, what does that do on this?
That's for low reverse. Isn't it?
Hey?
Low reverse, the rear band.
Yeah. So obviously just reverse gear, and then when you go to manual low, not first taking off,
Yeah.
actual manual low.
So that's a different thing, is it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got to get your engine braking through it, and that's one of the reasons why it does it. Sounded pretty good.
Yeah. A bit more awkward once it's in there.
Down in there. That's what it's supposed to do.
Easy. First go. Look at that.
That's what it's supposed to do, like before.
So the sealing rings that run on the input shaft actually don't have a split in them. So to actually get them on, we've got a special tool that actually lines up the sealing rings and so tape it the whole way, so you can just gradually bring it down. And then we've got another tool that actually resizes it and closes it back up. So that way it's just minimal chance of actually tearing it and damaging the rings.
Easy then.
That's just the resizing tool. It's tapered on both ends. Oop, put on the right end. See how it's closed back up already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they made of?
Sorry?
What are the rings made of?
Are these Teflon rings? Or are they just the plastic ones?
White Teflon.
Yeah.
The darker pink ones are plastic.
Yeah, they're like a hard plastic or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just leave that on there for a little bit and then just makes it retain its shape, I guess. I think it was there already.
Just leave in the hardened shaft there, mate.
Just leaving it.
Yeah.
You can see it come through there.
Nice. Is that extra lubrication or something?
It's like a drain back from the converter. It's very restricted from factory.
Yeah. So the hole is existing, you just made it bigger.
Putting these two pistons together. That black and that black thing there are a tool we made. So that compresses that lip seal, and this one does the same with this lip seal on the inside. So yeah, this is your overdrive brake piston. So just the inner and outer lip seal of that piston, so that's your overdrive brake. Cool. We'll chuck that in place now and line up that hole.
So this should be the overdrive brake. You can see how it applies.
So what's this bit?
The overdrive direct and gear set. That's it.
What are they?
Two accumulators, an accumulator housing and two accumulators. That's your valve body separator plate.
Gasket rooted?
Gasket stuck to the other half, unfortunately. So yeah, I've got to sit there and clean all this up.
So what we are doing here is we are just double checking the clearance between the pump housing and the overdrive direct housing where the thrust washer sits, because when you bolt it in you won't feel if something's binding up. So you do this to make sure that, just to reassure that everything else in the case so far has already been seated. See how I've already got the clearance there?
Yep. Yep. So that tells me that all of that's down, it's all seated, we've got good clearance. I can just bolt the pump in.
Easy.
Holy sick.
Just a Land Cruiser box.
Huh? I know, but I take part in the book. And everything.
So just surfaced it and got it clean. We're replacing all those solenoids, so I normally would test them, but we're replacing them. We're just fitting whatever that shift kit's got in it, new modifications wise, which is all these springs, and there's one other valve we're going to put into it. So just got to get all these out. That's right, he's done it. Yeah, you've been replaced. Hey? I don't think you were qualified enough for it. Bill, do yours, James.
We're trying to hide all that stuff, aren't we?
Yeah.
What's that gadget, Trev?
Hey?
What's that gadget?
It's a Sonex overrun control valve or overrun clutch valve kit. Which I've just got to modify a little bit to make it fit. Because that pipe's not going in. filter's the last thing to go on. Done. He might get a second coat on this night before he leaves. We'll prime it and then paint it. And on Tuesday, if it's all painted up, we'll put on the dyno and come around and run it up. See what it's like.
Thanks, dude. I'm excited. Be good to see it in operation. Keen to see it on the dyno, actually.
Yeah.
How much, how much power and torque do you put through it on the dyno?
No, it's a electric motor.
Just to see if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It's checking gears, pressures, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. We can load it up with a retarder, but yeah, it's not simulating thousands of horsepower. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. Awesome. Created a bunch of extra work for James. He has to prepare it all because I wanted it orange instead of black. He's just lucky that he actually had the paint here. Poor James. Check out this dyno. Inside the motor. I reckon I could just put that in the patrol, man. Big thanks to Wholesale Auto for having me at their workshop and letting me film. Can't wait to use this gearbox behind the 6VT. And that paint job looks badass. So thanks guys.